Hi, I'm Marta Benavides. It's time for Socialife. Coming up, we are talking about colon care. Is this type of cancer preventable, and when should the screening process begin? Dr. Nolan Perez is with us to answer our questions. Are you ready for a new addition to your family? I mean, the furry kind. Our friends from Palm Valley Animal Society are here and they're looking for some loving homes. Plus, we're going into the kitchen at the Food Bank RGV. It's all coming up on this edition of Socialife. We'll be right back.
Need help after COVID-19? Get support and answers on financial assistance, utility hardship assistance, state and federal funding, workplace safety planning, and more. Free for Pharr residents and business owners only. Call 402-4311 to set up your appointment today.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. John Krause, Dean of RGV School of Medicine. As you know, we're living in difficult times, both for our nation and for the Valley. We all know friends, neighbors, and family who have become ill with the novel coronavirus. Many have been hospitalized, some tragically have passed away. In these darkest days, however, I can still see a glimmer of hope. The resiliency and the fortitude of our Valley community, coming together to address this disease and to beat it back into submission. There will be challenges ahead, but I have full confidence in our people, their love, compassion, and dedication. It's all of us together who can work hand in hand to survive this pandemic, stronger as a community and as a society. So let's all stay safe, protect each other, follow good health practices, and commit together that we will not be defeated. I'm proud to be here, part of the Rio Grande Valley. So Marta, I hope you and yours are well, and thank you. Looking forward to getting out of this pandemic and moving on.
We thank you so much for that powerful message, Dean Krause, and we wish you all the best. Can diet, exercise, and regular health screenings prevent us from developing colon cancer? Health experts believe it can make a difference. And today we want to welcome our special guest and friend, Dr. Nolan Perez. He's with Gastroenterology Consultants of South Texas. We welcome you and we are thrilled to have you on the show, Dr. Perez. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Marta.
You know, just a couple of weeks ago, we were shocked to hear of the untimely passing of actor Chadwick Boseman. This young man had a promising career. It had back-to-back films. He played this superhero on the big screen. Why do you believe his death impacted so many of us?
Well, I think it was shocking because of his age, but I also think, he touched a nerve in all of us because he was such a positive force, both on and off the screen. He had such a positive, he was a positive role model, positive messaging, and I think he just portrayed his roles very well, but even in his personal life, he was just such a great man. And so I feel like he was a role model to many. And so when someone like that, especially when you find out he died of cancer and he was 43, you're like, wow, and so many people have reached out to me worried. They're like, oh my God, I'm older than 43. Should I get checked? Or I'm 42 or I'm 41. When should I start getting checked? And so I think that's why he was just such a positive force, a positive, role model to so many. And then because of his age, so it was unfortunate, very untimely death. But this happens from time to time. I remember way back in the late 90s, if you remember the Katie Couric effect, as they called it, when her late husband passed away from colon cancer. Many sort of give credit to her for putting the message out for colon cancer awareness. really got Medicare to approve colonoscopy for colon cancer screening. So, and there's been so many others. And so, but very unfortunate, may he rest in peace. I think that's why.
What do we need to be doing different, Dr. Perez? What can we learn from this? What are some of the symptoms that we need to be looking out for?
Well, so it's interesting, right? I'll let you know the symptoms of colon cancer, and then I'll tell you why it's not good to wait for symptoms. But sure, I mean, symptoms should not be ignored by anyone at any age, right? Even when you're young or even if you're older, but you should never ignore symptoms. But the symptoms that could mean there's a problem in the colon. It could mean you have colon cancer. Symptoms, something as simple as bloating. Change in bowel habits, more frequent loose stools or more difficult to pass stools, constipation, sometimes thin stools, sometimes as something as common as some rectal discomfort, rectal pain, what you think could be hemorrhoids, some simple rectal bleeding. And although it could be hemorrhoids, sometimes it could be, I sometimes tell patients, sometimes it's a message from above getting you in here early. And I can't tell you how many times, and someone that's even in their 30s or 40s, something as simple as hemorrhoids gets them to see me. We do a colonoscopy, and then we remove 2 or 3 polyps. And I say, oh my gosh, I'm glad you didn't wait till you were 45 or 50 because those hemorrhoids saved you, and prevented colon cancer. But also abdominal pain, bloating, and weight loss. All those are symptoms of colon cancer. But as I said earlier, nobody should wait for symptoms, because colon cancer can be prevented. So that's the main message for folks out there, is that you can prevent colon cancer by getting checked before you develop symptoms. I always tell patients, waiting for symptoms is like waiting for cancer. You don't want to do that.
You don't want to wait. Dr. Perez, you talked about polyps, but can you tell us exactly what they are?
Sure. So the nice thing about colon cancer prevention is that it really is, colon cancer screening is really preventing colon cancer. And the reason is that there's a precancerous precursor called a colon polyp. And these little small tumors or growths in the colon grow slowly, and they can take anywhere from 7 or 8 or even up to 15 years to develop into cancer. So it gives us a long time to do the intervention, which is go in there and remove the colon polyps. And removing these precancerous polyps or tumors, or little tumors or growths, think of them as little bumps in your colon. Removing these little tumors prevents colon cancer, because we interrupt that polyp to carcinoma, that polyp to cancer evolution or process. And that's how we prevent cancer. So it's very important to get screening. It's very important to get tested if you have symptoms, because we can prevent cancer by removing the colon polyps. Now, unfortunately, if we find cancer, we'd like to find it early. We don't like finding cancer, but when we do find cancer, then that patient needs surgery and chemotherapy. So you see how it's much better to prevent cancer than actually wait to get cancer. And then by that time, who knows, you could be stage 2, stage 3, or even stage 4, and that's not an ideal situation.
Take me through the screening process. We hear that the most effective way to detect such polyps, or to learn if there's a problem in the colon that needs to be addressed, of course, is a colonoscopy. Aside from that, because I know many people cringe, it's an uncomfortable subject to talk about.
Right.
Aside from the colonoscopy screening, are there other effective options out there that we can share with our audience?
Yeah, sure. There are other options. And I always say any screening is better than no screening. Mm-hmm. So I applaud any type of screening effort. There are stool tests to look for blood in the stool. There's another stool test called a Cologuard that looks for genetic material in polyps or in cancers. And of course, there's a CT scan called a virtual colonoscopy or CT colonography. Now, I will tell you that these screening tests sound very, sexy and better than colonoscopy. Anything sounds better than a colonoscopy. I sometimes joke with my patients and I tell them, are you ready for your colonoscopy? I'm sure you're very excited to have one. And they're like, look at me like I'm crazy. And I've had a colonoscopy myself. It's no fun. It's the bowel prep that's the worst part of it. But then the procedure, you're asleep for 15, 20 minutes. We go in there, and of course, the patients are just kind of lying on your side, just taking a nap, pretty much like that, and I even, make that gesture in front of my patients so they understand that they're going to be asleep, and they get that visual that they're going to feel fine. And I tell them, you're breathing on your own, you're not intubated, you're just breathing on your own like you're asleep at nighttime. And then during the process, we take out those polyps and send them to pathology so we know exactly what we removed. And then you're done. Usually you don't have to get another one for 5 years. I'm on the 5-year plan myself. I had my colonoscopy last year, I had 2 polyps. Nobody's immune from this stuff. And so I'm on the 5-year surveillance myself. So as far as the other tests, since you asked, yeah, they're good tests. If you're not gonna have any other tests and you refuse to have a colonoscopy, I want you to have at least some tests, and that's fine. The problem is twofold. Number one is, now that you've had that test, that's your screening test, now the colonoscopy becomes a little bit more expensive because the insurance companies want you to get a colonoscopy, so much so that they'll usually pay 100% for you to get a screening colonoscopy because they know how effective it is at preventing cancer. Once you've had another screening test, such as a stool test or a CT scan, now that colonoscopy becomes diagnostic. And so now co-pays apply and things like that. And so it becomes a little bit more pricey at that time. The other thing that's problematic with these tests is they're just diagnostic tests, and they're not as good as finding polyps as a colonoscopy, and there's no way to remove colon polyps, so there's no way to prevent colon cancer. Preventing colon cancer only comes through the removal of colon polyps, and that only is done at a time of colonoscopy.
So you would agree that your best bet is having the colonoscopy screening?
Yeah, nobody wants to get it done. You're not normal if you really want to get a colonoscopy, obviously. But knowing that colon polyps are present in about 50% of our patients over 45, and that's real numbers. We've been tracking this for several years. About over half the patients that come in over 45 or 50 years old for screening in our practice, over half of them have precancerous colon adenomas, colon polyps. And that should alarm people. If you have a pre-test probability of like a coin flip, 50% chance of having polyp, and you're 50 years old, that's pretty high. You're much smarter getting a colonoscopy done so that we can remove those polyps and prevent colon cancer.
How often should we start thinking about having this type of screening, Dr. Perez? Because I understand the guidelines changed. It's 45 now, correct?
Yeah, so the American Cancer Society and some others are now falling in the same recommendation. And even most of the insurance companies are now paying for colonoscopy at the age of 45 because they recognize there's more, there are more younger and younger people getting colon cancer, like Chadwick Boseman. And so they want folks to come get checked earlier. And so that is the time for an asymptomatic average risk person to start screening age 45. But remember, folks with a family history should start 10 years younger than their relative at the time they were diagnosed. So if you have a relative that was diagnosed at the age of 40, 45, well then you subtract 10 years and now you have to get it done at 30 or 35. So you should have it done 10 years younger than your first degree relative that had colon cancer diagnosed. And so that's very important for folks to understand. Of course, some people get colonoscopy when they're in their 20s or 30s or 40s because of symptoms, as we mentioned earlier. Symptoms should not get ignored at any age. But yeah, everyone who feels fine, but they're 45, that's the time you want to get a colonoscopy, when you still feel fine. That's the time when you can prevent colon cancer from happening in the first place.
Listen to your body. Do not ignore those warning signs. I want to know what I can do to prevent from getting colon cancer, period, Dr. Perez. So please just give us some advice on things that we can do to take care of our precious machines.
Well, and that's a great question. I will tell you that there are risk factors out there, like just being overweight, a diet high in fat content, in red meats, inactivity, just lack of exercise. Of course, smoking and alcohol intake are risk factors. But remember, the biggest risk is just age. Genetics plays a role as well. And there are other things that we don't yet know about, things in the environment, maybe other behaviors that we're just coming, that are coming to light that we're just still figuring out. We don't know all the risks. And so when colon polyps are so common as you get older, the smart thing to do is just to get screening and get them removed. And that's the effective way to prevent colon cancer. So I have patients sometimes that get diagnosed with polyps, or unfortunately I've had several with cancer, and they tell me, how the heck could this happen? Yeah. I'm a vegetarian, I run marathons, I'm in perfect shape, I don't smoke, I don't drink. Why? And I just tell them, I always say this, you can't fool stress, age, and genetics. And no matter how good you eat or you exercise, and I want you to do those things, those are very important, not only to prevent colon cancer and GI cancers, but also to prevent heart disease and diabetes and everything else. Very important for folks to maintain their ideal body weight and to eat high fiber diet and to low fat content, low red meats, and things like that. I mean, it's great advice to maintain a healthy lifestyle. But unfortunately, you can't fool stress, age, and genetics. You've got to get your screening done. You've got to see your doctor routinely and check your blood pressure, check your blood sugars, your cholesterol, all those kind of things. Get your vaccines. But colon cancer screening is so powerful. It's such an effective way to prevent colon cancer. And colonoscopy, it's no fun, but you're asleep. You feel like it just passes by. You blink and you wake up and it's over. And it is so effective at preventing colon cancer by removing colon polyps. So you got to get it done.
We appreciate you sharing your wealth of knowledge with us, and we're thankful. And I would love to toast to just staying on top of that healthcare maintenance plan that we all need to be staying on top of. Salud.
Thank you. Salud. Thank you, Martha, for the time. Thank you for promoting colon cancer awareness. God bless you.
We appreciate it. God bless you, Dr. Perez. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming up, we are looking to place some sweet animals in loving homes. If you're interested, stick around. We're going to be talking to the Palm Valley Animal Society when we come back.
We are excited for back to school, and while the world has thrown us a couple of curveballs, we are ready to welcome our students back with the next level excellence you expect from McAllen ISD. Every one of our students will be learning virtually, but what does that mean? Well, I'm going to tell you. Since 2011, every one of our students has been issued a smart device. They will use these devices to connect in real time to their classroom. This is synchronous learning, and it is the closest thing to being in school you can get from the safety of your home. Students will see and hear their teachers, their classmates, and engage with both just as they would in their school buildings.
The first vocabulary word is adorable.
They will have designated class times, assignments, due dates, tests, and celebrations as they learn and master new things. This method truly brings the classroom experience into your home. We can promise this because our teachers have spent the last 10 years learning the tools and technology necessary to make it happen. Be on the lookout for invitations from your campus for our virtual Meet the Teacher nights and parent information meetings. This school year will certainly be like no other in our 112-year history, but our experience and expertise has prepared us well. Technology, innovation, and excellence are our brand, and we stand ready and eager to meet every challenge with the same determination that has earned us 2 consecutive A ratings and countless other distinctions. It is never too late to join our McAllen ISD family. Registration is ongoing and can be completed online or on the phone. Call us at 687-6473. We're ready for you.
When you bank with Lone Star National Bank, you're actually investing in your community. You see, our customers have made us one of the largest community banks in Texas, which means we don't ship your money to New York. Instead, we invest in our community. We invest in your future and in thousands of small businesses.
Together,
we do what the little banks can't and the big banks won't. Lone Star National Bank, the Valley's bank.
At North Park Lexus RGV, we embrace posted pricing. It's our approach to transparent pricing and making what the car buying experience is supposed to be, fun. We value the guest experience. Whether you're looking at a brand new Lexus or a pre-owned vehicle, we invite you out to see what it's all about. Visit us in person or online at nplexusrgv.com. Come see what posted pricing is all about.
Are you looking to add a new member to your family? Well, don't give it another thought. Our friends from Palm Valley Animal Society may have exactly what you're looking for. I would like to welcome our friend, the new executive director at Palm Valley Animal Society, Ms. Donna Casamento. Welcome to Socialife. Thank you for accepting to be on the show, and welcome to the Valley.
Thank you. It's so exciting to be not only on your show, but here at Palm Valley Animal Society in the RGV.
And what beautiful work you're doing. I know that this is something that's very near and dear to your heart. You've devoted most of your adult life, Ms. Casamento, to this. Why?
I remember once years ago when I was starting out and I was running a transport program, pulling animals out of shelters in South Carolina where they were euthanizing a tremendous amount of animals in that community. And I remember getting, we would push animals out to the community and we would say, hey, we need fosters, we need to transport them, we need to do all these things. And then 5 days later, when I would get the list of all the animals that we were not able to get out that had unfortunately been euthanized, I remember just sitting at my table crying, and my husband walked in and said, honey, you just can't do this. And I just looked up at him and I said, you don't understand. I have to do this now. There's no turning back. There's no unseeing what I've seen, and realizing that we have so many wonderful companion animals in shelters, not only here in the RGV, but everywhere in the country, that just deserve a chance to get out and have a life somewhere. And so that's what my career has become. I've been involved in this since about 2004. And I have, it's been a gift to be able to do this kind of work.
How lucky are we that you've devoted to this cause, Ms. Casamento? We have some wonderful people here in the Valley that I know might be thinking right now, this is a great time to add a new member to our family. What is the process? What do we need to go through in order to become a parent of a new pet?
Well, we still are doing adoptions 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So you can still absolutely come to our facility. We are going through all sorts of precautions with temperature testing and doing, screenings before you come in, limiting the number of people in our facility at a time. But you can come in and you can meet the animals. You can look on our website, see all the animals that are available, so that when you come here, you can kind of know where you want to go and who you want to see, and to shorten the time of your exposure here. But everybody's masked up. Everybody has to wear a mask when they enter the facility. And we do everything that we can to keep the facility as clean as possible, and everyone, our staff and the people coming in to see us, as safe as we possibly can. But one of the things that's so important and is so helpful, if you can't adopt and you're maybe not ready to adopt right now, foster. We need to get these pets out of the shelter. It's so important right now that with people, limited people coming in, that we have maximum number of animals going out. So if you're home and you're sheltering in place and you're spending more time at home, what better way to spend your time than playing with some great new kitten or cat or dog or puppy that really just needs some time out of the shelter? Or in the kitten area, we have tons of, it's kitten season. Kitten season didn't listen to COVID. They did not social distance, and they are reproducing like crazy out there. And so what we have is a ton of kittens coming in, and we need homes to keep hold of those kittens before they're able to be adopted. So while they're still itty bitties and they need some time in a shelter, in a home, and just, it's better we have a better chance of keeping them healthy if they're out of a shelter environment, in a home environment. So keep them for a few weeks, let them grow a little bit, and then bring them back in. We'll spay and neuter them, keep track of all their vaccinations, give you all the supplies that you need, but foster them for those few weeks while they're just growing until they reach that 2-pound level, 8 weeks, when we can actually spay and neuter them and then get them up for adoption.
So you're looking for foster care, you're looking for ambassadors, volunteers, anybody that is looking to help. You welcome that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you mentioned ambassadors. One of the things that I think is so much fun about being an ambassador is that you can actually help that pet find its forever home. You've got friends, you've got family, you know people through your own personal social media that you can sort of market this animal that you have in your home, show some pictures of what it's like living around your family and how that animal is adapting to a home, and show what a great animal it is. and, become one of our adoption ambassadors and help us find that animal a forever home. Or be what we call a foster fit. People used to call it a foster fail. We don't call it a foster fit. That means if you're fostering an animal and you figure out that it's a fit for your family forever, then you adopt that animal.
That would be wonderful. I have to ask you, has this pandemic given you the opportunity to place more of these kittens and cats and puppies and dogs into homes? Has it made it easier? Has it made it harder?
Well, both. I think it's been both. I think it's always a challenge when you have limited access to your shelter. Even though, we're still open, people are still coming in. I think there's still people have that fear that they don't want to go out, so they're not coming as readily. Our shelters are not as full of people. We do have people waiting out in the parking lot a little bit. We've got these great little apps that we use to, call you in when you're next in line to come in, and it works pretty well. So you're not waiting too long, but I think it's created some hesitancy on some people's part of, not wanting to take on any commitments in this unsure time. Everything's unsure for all of us, not only economically, but we don't know how much longer we're going to be home. And as kids were starting back to school, not necessarily knowing if we were going to be homeschooling or not homeschooling. And do you want a new dog or kitten running around when your kid's trying to get settled into homeschooling? That may play a little bit of a factor, but no, they're great for show and tell during homeschool time. Say, hey, I'm fostering this dog. I'm helping Palm Valley Animal Society. Isn't this a great thing to do, kids? Everybody can do this, and bring it to show and tell, and you don't have to go far because it's right there in your home with you.
I know that you all were hit with Hurricane Hanna recently, and contributions are also very much welcome. How can we help support the shelter?
Well, yeah, Hurricane Hanna was not our friend. She came in and did some significant damage to our roof at our Trenton facility. And unfortunately, because of the age of our Trenton facility, which we would love to rebuild, so stay tuned for at one point in the near future about talks of a capital campaign to redo that facility. But right now, we have a seriously old roof, and the insurance company would not cover the damage to it. So we have about $20,000 worth of damage to a building that, is not in great shape, that we have to do just in order to, in all intents and purposes, keep the roof over their head and keep it from just being kind of like a sieve when it rains and the water coming through. So we need about $20,000. So donations if people can go to our website at pvastx.org and /donate, and you can click on donate, and there's all sorts of ways you can donate. You can become a monthly donor. Those are wonderful. We call it our Animal Compadres. It's a great little program that we have, and you get a neat t-shirt and all sorts of little swag when you become a monthly donor at a certain level. And we really do want people in the RGV to support us. We get some great support from organizations all over the country, but we are still funded because of the amount of animals that we deal with here. We're at about 1/5 of the funding of what animals shelters nationally, with the same amount of animals that the same number of animals that they take in. We're operating on about 1/5 of the budget is what they do. So it's, we are the little engine that could, and we just keep doing it every day because we've got such great people in the RGV that help support us, but we've also got such wonderful animals that are in need. And so we just keep doing it. But the additional funding and support would be just a godsend for us at this time.
We know that fundraising is key when it comes to raising money for the shelter. What is going to happen with the event that you all refer to as Puppy Love this time around?
Yes, thanks for asking. Puppy Love is an event that we have typically in February every year, and we're a little sorry to say that it doesn't look like it's going to happen this February, because I think because of COVID, probably throughout 2021, fundraising for all of nonprofits is going to be a little different than it's ever been. As we get a vaccine in place, hopefully we'll feel more comfortable very soon about getting, 600 to 700 people back and are together and doing something fun. But in the interim, we're coming up with some really interesting ideas, and we're going to do something later in the spring that will be more virtual, probably in break it up into people's homes or at different locations so that we can get smaller groups of people together and do something fun and interesting. So please stay tuned on our website at pbastx.org, and we'll be making an announcement very soon about what we'll be doing to support the animals throughout 2021.
Terrific. And if we would like to give some more information with regards to the hours of operation, because I know that that's changed. You mentioned the curbside adoption and so forth. Any information, where can our audience call?
Well, actually, we do have 2 phone lines. We have 2 locations. We have our location on Trenton and our location off of 281 off of Monte Cristo. And so we've got 2 different numbers to call. You've got 956-720-4563 or 956-686-1147. And you can go to the website, and both of those numbers are listed on the website. But we are open from 11 to 7, 365 days a year, available for adoption. So our hours have not changed. We operate as an essential business. We are there every day to support the people and the animals in the RGV.
Well, we are so happy to partner up with you, Ms. Casamento. Welcome to the Valley. Thank you for the work that you're doing. We hope to recruit volunteers and get some more donations for you, some animal compadres, as you refer to them, and get people to foster these beautiful animals and hopefully provide loving and permanent homes to a lot of these beautiful animals that you have there at Palm Valley Animal Society. Thank you so much for the work you do.
Thank you for having us.
And coming up, fighting hunger with nutritious meals. Our friends from Food Bank RGV are doing just that. They're going to join us right after this short break.
The Rio Grande Valley is home to over 1.3 million people, like you and me. But in Washington, D.C., we may look more like this.
We are way behind on filling out our census forms.
Some Valley cities are only at 5%.
Really? If you've got one of these, fill it out and mail it out.
You can fill it out online at 2020census.gov.
You can even do it on a smartphone.
Or call 844-330-2020.
Let's shape our future.
Hi, Martha and the whole Socialife family. This is Sandra coming to you from the Food Bank of the Rio Grande Valley. And I am happy to bring you a great recipe today. We're gonna be making a taco-filled avocado. Who doesn't like avocados? But if you don't like them, I also have another option for you. So to start with, let's do the avocado. We're gonna go ahead and cut it in half. We're gonna pit it, so we're gonna take the pit out. Some of them are a little bit harder than others, but don't get discouraged because avocado is delicious. What we wanna do is get a little bit of that avocado out in order to make sure we get some good filling in there. So we're gonna take just a tiny bit of avocado, make that insert or the little pit a little bit deeper. We're gonna be using some ground turkey, which we pre-made. And this is just turkey with a little bit of taco seasoning. If you don't want taco seasoning, you can also use a little bit of garlic, some onion, a little bit of cumin, salt, and pepper. We're gonna be putting this into the avocado. Onto this, we're gonna be using a little bit of tomatoes, give it a little bit of color. Doesn't that look good already? I'm gonna grab one of our romaine lettuce, chop it up just a tiny bit for you, dress it up nice and neat, plus make it look really yummy. So we're gonna put that right over. So we're gonna put a little bit of this cheese right onto the avocado, and you have your taco stuffed avocado. If in case you do not want to use avocado, just like I said, we do have another option. We will use a lettuce wrap. So with this, we're gonna do the same process. We're gonna go ahead and use some turkey. So we're gonna put a little bit of tomatoes onto this. And we're still gonna keep a little bit of avocado on there, but we're gonna go ahead and just dice it up. Okay, so there's your avocado. And we will add some cheese. So just like that, you have your lettuce wrap. To give it that little extra spice, instead of sour cream, what I would suggest is using a little bit of Greek yogurt. It is less fatty, it is less high in fats. We can just put a little dollop on there, just the same as we could do on your avocado. And there you go. You can either have your lettuce wrap or your taco-filled avocado. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks, Martha.
That looks really good. We want to thank all our friends at the Food Bank RGV for the beautiful work they're doing, and we thank our special guests today. We look forward to your company next week. Until then, we leave you with the art of socialifing.